All right, so for my bird image that I did here, let me hold it up. So for this bird image that I did, it has about 5 different layers. I did a very different kind of approach than from my house drawing on the hill with the trees. What I did was I thought to myself, I know I love Maori tattoos, and so I like that sort of stylistic. You could also look up Aztec for really cool, like black and white, real simple graphics. And then I created my own drawing of a simplified version of what that basically looks like, of just like the overall bird minus the claws. Okay, so what I did here then was I recreated this drawing here. You know, kind of whatever, playing around. Right. And before I cut this out and before I even did anything, I know that I needed to have pieces on top and underneath. So this is a very different approach than what I did for the house. It was a little more exploratory, a little more spontaneous. And in fact, I actually prefer the outcome of this one because it's just a little more, I don't know, it's a little bit more loose, if you will. So what I did next was I went ahead and cut this out. Feel free to fast forward me cutting this shape, but it is important to cut correctly. You're better off not cutting away from yourself, but cutting towards yourself and away from your non-cutting hand, like keeping this out. And just constantly turning as you go. Oh, I also think it's a wise idea, if you want to do this, to actually do the coloring before you cut, right? It'll make it a lot easier in the long run. It'll just look better. Right, so I'm just going to do a real quick side-to-side approach. I'm not even caring about being super perfect because it's going to get covered up. And you'll see. The next layer is going to cover up my mess. So what I'm doing is anything that I cut out, that's what's going to be visible. All right. So constantly turning your work so that you are cutting towards yourself and really pushing down hard, even if it is only one layer of paper. It's going to take some physical effort to get that to pop up. Oh darn it, I colored the wrong part. Ha! That's okay. I will fix it. It's almost cut out. All right, duh. So I need to color the bottom of that in. There. Okay, so then the next layer I did was something more like this, where I wanted to actually have the feet kind of come into it and just do a bigger outline. So at this point, if you wanted to actually color that next shape in, you could do that. Now keep in mind, this is a little bit messy right now because this is just a skill builder. If you were doing this technique with your actual book, you would definitely do some practice coloring and get a good approach. No, be careful with the little guy. Okay, so I'm leaving this one, and I'm going to cut on this one. Make sure I line that up. This will be interesting because I used a different paper to sketch this out. Okay, that'll be fine. There we go. Okay. All right, so if you did a sketch beforehand, you can certainly use that and just cut underneath it, right? I'm going to show you. You just cut both layers out. Just make sure you're actually cutting the actual paper at the same time. So this was a sketch I'd done to prepare for that second layer. Didn't really take any time. I just kind of thought about the outline of it and how to add to it and get creative. I wasn't really looking at anything for inspiration. I was just thinking about positive and negative space and exploring, you know, the shape of the bird, the outline. I wanted to make it look like there were feet, so I added those. But I just wanted another, like a larger outline of this thing. And I'm cutting through 2 layers right now. I'm cutting through the sketch that I did, and I'm cutting through the actual paper that's right above the last piece. Let's see how it works. It's a very different way of thinking, and you will probably screw up a little bit before you get it right, and that's okay. I'm all about doing things a couple times before I get it right. Okay, almost done cutting this out. It's popping out that second layer. This looks a little bit funky right here. There we go. Alright, take my practice piece out. And like I said before, this is a little bit more exploratory, so I might actually cut this out here just to make it look a little bit better. We don't need to worry about perfect cuts right now, but you do want it to be fairly clean, so just, you know, come back and try to do a nice clean job if you can. Come back and fix anything if it's not looking right. Care. Alright, so that's more like the top right there, and then I definitely want it to look like, you know what, let's just, like I said, this is where you can just get creative as you go. I'm going to make sure I get that little point. And who knows how good that looks. Oh, that's better. Okay. Alright, so here I want to actually make it look like it's got a little crown on it. So I'm going to color gold here, because this is what I was kind of in my head going for, was showing that it's got like a little crown and then some interesting little shapes cut out there. So I'm going to go ahead and just color this part in. I'm not going to cut anything on this layer. So if we look back here, I didn't cut that layer. That's the bottom layer. I cut that layer and I colored it, and then I cut this layer. So, but I'm not going to cut anything out of this layer. Okay, I'm just gonna color that in. Whoops. And just for sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and just draw in this idea that I have. So, I'm going to use, okay, so I wanted it to have like a little crown kind of shape here, so I'm just going to kind of draw through it. And I was going to cut some interesting doodad shapes over here. And I could do the same down here because I have a big negative space down here. So just think variety is the spice of life. Having different sizes and shapes and variety are all good. Okay, and then I'm going to cut that out. And so you can see how that works. So I kind of did this in reverse, where I didn't start from the back. I kind of started closer to the middle, and then I worked my way toward the top, and I can go back and I can work my way back. I can make more layers on the bottom side too if I wanted to. Almost done. Okay. That. Alright, so I won't take the time to cut everything out, just so, but you can see what have I done. Oh, ha ha ha! I was supposed to actually cut that out of here. So, yeah, this is not something I do every day, folks. And so you are seeing me messing up, but that's alright because I can always fix stuff, right? And if it's something you don't do every day, you're not going to be an expert, right? So go easy on yourself and know that mistakes will be made. It's not the end of the world. I just made a little bit more work for myself, which I didn't need to do. Okay. There we go. That's what I meant to do. All right. So basically now you see there's the bottom of that bird. There's the actual bird itself cut out. So there's nothing here, something there, and a lot more detail here. So that's just 3 layers, and that's enough for you to actually have the skill building exercise successfully done. Good luck. Have fun.